this week was all about the labor market, and it's cracking a little more than the headline numbers let on. Do keep in mind that the Fed's job is not just to keep inflation low or prices stable, they're also in charge of maximizing employment. And on the Fed, though, one voting member, that's Beth Hammack, she's been arguing this week that the Fed actually needs to hike rates, saying both higher and lower oil prices would both push inflation up. And you can try to make sense of that. But luckily, most others on the Fed, including the new Fed chair, that's Kevin Warsh, they all think falling oil prices as well as AI adoption is going to help actually bring inflation down over time, kind of like what happened with the internet years and years ago. But speaking of AI, Challenger did report AI was the top reason for job cuts for the fourth month in a row. That was in June. And it was also responsible for about a quarter of all layoffs so far this year. On jobs, ADP showed almost 100,000 added in June, a little under estimates. But then Thursday's BLS report, yesterday obviously, came in weaker, and less than 60,000 jobs were added, about half of what was expected. Plus, almost 75,000 jobs were removed from the prior 2 months based on revisions. And the unemployment rate did drop 1/10 of a point, but not because people found work. It actually dropped because people left the labor force entirely faster than people lost jobs, which is actually a sign of weakness. JOLTS, that's job openings and the labor turnover survey, it kind of told a similar story. Openings came in decent, but hiring rates now the lowest since we've seen in 2011. And the quits rates, it's lowest since 2014. People just are not leaving their jobs because there's nowhere better to go, and there's less recruiting and poaching going on as well. So you add that softening labor market together with oil prices now being under $68 a barrel, at least this week. It's the lowest it's been since February. And the Fed does really have more room to hold off on hiking since they have these new task forces being deployed. And they might use that as a reason to not make any hikes or cuts until they, see the impact that these new task forces create. On housing, asking prices actually fell 2.5% year over year in June. That's the biggest drop since 2017. But pending sales actually rose for the 7th straight month, and inventory's climbing too. Also, something worth knowing, the VA did loosen its appraisal rules a little bit this week, dropping the full radon test requirement, and also kind of eased the old rule that treated any chip paint as a deal killer. But this week, it's going to bring the Fed minutes, weekly ADP numbers, jobless claims, and we'll get a 10 and a 30-year auction as well. But I'll see you next Friday to let you know how they all come out.